Buckle up for another episode of Ghost Facers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun, as always, is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Yar, welcome to heaven.
That's right. This week we are talking about the top 10 episodes of Supernatural.
And at 2:30, I'll teach y'all how to Dougie.
Oh, that's great. I almost went to the pirate voice.
Yar, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, but...
None of this makes sense, and by the end of this episode, maybe it will. Let's get into it.
Ghost! Ghost Facers! We're facing ghosts! We're others, we're not! We're ghosts! Ghost Facers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghosts! Ghost Facers! We're facing nightmare! We're facing dread! Ghosts! Ghost Facers! We're facing faceless! We're facing dead!
Welcome to Ghost Facers. Today we're discussing Season 5, Episode 16, Dark Side of the Moon.
As I wipe the stars off the windows on my spaceship,
What?
call out the spirits in my basement, crawl out the center of a snake pit, I'll
What?
fall into the middle of her greatness.
Is this lyrics from Dark Side of the Moon or something?
By Lil Wayne.
Oh, there's a song by Lil Wayne called
Different Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know either, so I was like, what?
To be honest, it wasn't until I started reading it that I realized I pulled up the wrong one. I was just going to read...
I mean, that's very funny.
Yeah.
This episode aired April 1st, 2010.
Or did it? April Fool's Day.
Oh, well, I didn't even think about that. Anyways,
No, did it? I don't know what to believe.
this episode was written by Andrew Dabb.
We both dabbed, obviously.
Yeah, and Daniel Laughlin. I don't have a thing for that.
Yeah, teach me how to Laughlin
What?
instead of Dougie. I don't know. I tried
Wow.
to make it a thing.
That
like
was
a
cool.
cool thing.
And I mean, if anybody,
Dougieing is cool, right?
yeah. I mean, in 2010, maybe.
Oh man, what better way to spend your time?
Then
It probably is too early for that.
No. Dougieing was pretty in the early 2000s.
Go on. Be an authority on this.
Yeah, no, thank you. This episode was directed by Jeff Wilno.
He will not direct this episode.
It will not. And it was viewed by an estimated 2.40
Sure.
million.
We
viewers.
were up to like 2.9
Yeah.
last time, right? Last
an episode or two ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know where we're at.
We
We know exactly where we're at. It's 2010. Dougieing is taking the nation by storm.
hitting the radio waves and
Casey Kasem.
that's right.
I'm going to teach you how to Dougie.
Yeah, of course. At the sock hop, everyone's learning how to Dougie.
At the sock hop. Oh, God.
Let's watch the promo.
Who is this show for? Like, our show, I mean.
Oh, not even for us anymore.
No, it can't be.
But we were nominated for a Canadian Podcast
Oh,
Award, so
we'll be talking all about that,
for
baby.
someone.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch the promo.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
That was a promo.
It was just, yeah, it's fine. I mean, at a certain point, that's kind of my opinion of most of these.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real sense of threat there, I guess, other than like, oh, fuck, Zachariah's back.
Yes,
But,
and like that mom.
I mean, that's not a threat. That's an invitation.
Well, before we actually start talking about this episode, we've got a review.
Hey, wow. Weird order.
Yeah, I
We're doing the promo,
Yeah.
and then we're going to back
yeah,
out to talk. Okay.
I've never really figured out a good place for it. So
I think you have. You just forgot it this time.
that might be true,
That is true.
but that's not where we're at today. That's right. We've got a 1-star review.
Oh, I loved this one. I feed on your hate.
Yes, give me hate.
Yeah. Strike him down.
That's right. A 1-star review from Apple Podcasts US from Dean Girl Forever 85.
I wonder what her complaint could be.
I had to double check that this wasn't the same as the other 1-star review because
Oh, yeah.
almost word for word the same thing.
Basically the exact same criticism.
That's right. So this is
Which is just that we have compassion.
So subject from review from a Dean fan,
Sure.
obviously, who goes on to say, like the podcast because I love Supernatural and Dean Winchester is my fave character. But I don't care for the Dean bashing at times. And also in the early seasons, Dean was awesome and not a dirtbag. Untrue.
Interesting reading.
Yeah. This is my problem with you and other podcasts that are woke and SJW because y'all are so over offended. Like, nothing wrong with guys liking 2 chicks. Like, why is that wrong? We also didn't say that was wrong.
No, actually, it is wrong. We can only like guys now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But also,
I'm going to campaign against heterosexual marriage now.
it's the idea of enjoying 2 women at once is not the problem. It's the way you go about it.
Also, I don't know that we've been personally offended by anything. We're
It-
just pointing out that, like, someone could be.
But also, the approach is dirtbag to be like, nice. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's also dirtbaggy.
Yeah.
Anyways, besides the whole annoying complaints about straight white guys, I still love the show, and Dean is the best no matter what. And Sam was wrong for season 4. Uh-oh. They're on your side.
I mean,
Actually, they're on my side.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, am I the problem? Am I the drama?
I mean, yeah.
And Dean had every right to be angry with him. Not a fan of this podcast.
I like how it started with, I like the podcast.
Yes.
And by the end, they were like, never mind.
I don't.
Here, just a couple of things. First of all, thank you for writing in.
Oh yeah, we love this. This really just furthers our reasoning for doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a way, it's kind of if the bad reviews are written like this, it makes us look pretty good.
Yes.
And another thing,
Mhm.
as soon as you use woke or SJW as supposed to be like
derogatory
term, you've lost me.
Yes.
Because you should be warring for social justice.
Yes.
It's a good thing to do. And then thirdly, it's not about us being offended. It's about recognizing that there are different people with different life experiences and different perspectives who would encounter these things, and it would be hurtful to them.
Yeah.
It's called empathy and compassion. So if you run up against that, it means you're a bad person.
Don't listen to our podcast.
And it's fine not to know things or not to recognize that things are problematic. But if your response to learning that they're problematic is like, fuck, these people are too sensitive, then like you're the problem.
Yes, 1,000%.
So if your bad reviews sound like that, keep sending them in because that's going to make us look fucking great.
yeah, love
It doesn't
that.
matter if you tank the score. It's going to make us look so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If a podcast gets a lot of 1-star reviews,
And
I'm
you're
gonna
like,
check it
oh,
out.
what are the 1-star reviews? And be like, oh, they care about the feelings of others. You're like, oh, all right. That's
Cool.
Great.
That's basically a 5-star review.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Dean fan forever. With that, let's go to the international titles.
Let's do it. I kind of wish this episode was more of a Dirtbag Dean episode so
Oh,
that we
I
could
know.
lean in a bit. But,
I know.
oh, well. I'm not petty. I am.
The title of this episode, obviously, named after the Lil Wayne song.
Of course. Yeah, which was also out in 2010 along with Dougie. I really should have a better grip on what 2010 was.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit out of place. It's not good.
Yeah. April 2010, it wouldn't have been right around there, but I would have basically been on the cusp of graduating university.
And were you Dougieing then?
I can't remember.
Lil Wayne was playing.
Maybe I was
then.
Dougieing so hard that I don't remember.
I remember
Maybe I had a dang over.
I know my little brother was in high school when that because he learned how to Dougie.
Okay, so let's do the math.
And my little brother
Put everything else on pause.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
need to crack this.
My little
and I
brother-
refuse to Google Dougieing.
my little brother is 5 years younger than me. He
Okay.
probably would have been in grade 11, probably 10 or 11.
So then Dougieing would be out by then.
Yes. Oh my God, we cracked this wide open.
Holy shit.
Because that would have been
I'm going to confirm with Google. I didn't want to look it up first. Dougie dance.
But now it's too important.
How to Dougie.
Yeah.
Well, that's a YouTube video from 2011.
Yes. But the song.
How to learn how to
Teach Me How to Dougie is the name of the song.
Dougie is a hip. Okay, Wikipedia. This is important. The Dougie gained notoriety through rapper Lil Will, whose song My Dougie, released in late 2007.
Oh my God.
Became a hit.
So.
Then a person called C Smooth in Southern California taught future members of Cali Swag District how to do the dance.
Yeah.
And then they recorded the song Teach Me How to Dougie. And filmed a music video summer of 2009.
Oh my God.
So you nailed it. That was exactly, based on your math, that was it.
Oh my God.
So you nailed it.
Fucking right.
There you go.
Now I can sleep tonight.
Jesus. Okay, I just read all of that. Here's the start of the next paragraph.
Okay.
Monte Ray Talbert, known as M-Bone of Cali Swag District, was killed in his car by an unidentified gunman.
Oh my God.
They just go from, they made this fun music video. The very next paragraph is that.
Jesus. Was that on the grassy knoll?
Yeah, with a magic bullet. Jesus. Well, I guess because they eulogized him by saying he was the best at doing the dance, and on tour he was always the one in the forefront. He helped bring it to the masses. At the funeral, mourners did the dance for a tribute video, and Talbert's grandmother did it as part of her eulogy. The Dougie Wikipedia entry is worth the click.
Yes.
I'm just going to throw that out there. It's short, it's a little stub, but it's worth the click.
That's incredible.
That was an emotional roller coaster. I wasn't ready for that.
I hope that the family and friends of the person who started the Fortnite flossing has to do that at the man's funeral.
Yeah. To Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We're doing it if you wanted to know.
Yeah, that's not a good audio joke.
Nope. International titles.
Sure. Yeah, where were we?
So, Dark Side of the Moon.
Right.
Basically, everybody got it except for one.
Okay. Hungary again?
Germany.
Well, technically, there is no dark side of the moon. The moon goes around the earth. Every side gets the sun eventually.
Maybe some people think that that side of the moon maybe was just following orders and wasn't necessarily dark.
Wow. So many things happened there. Good Lord.
Maybe it's all just shades of gray and not necessarily dark.
I'm going to say that the German title is Heaven is a Prison of Your Own Making.
Weirdly enough, it's actually just solar eclipse.
What?
Yeah.
But
that's not what this is about.
Not anything.
No.
I guess other than if heaven is you're in the sun, then knowing you're there and having to leave or something is
maybe the dark side of the moon is actually Earth, and you get that when there's a solar eclipse because there is no light. This all makes very much sense.
There is no light, just as there is no right or wrong. It's all relative in the annals of history.
From a certain point of view.
Couldn't mean old Hans Kenobi. These are only jokes for us.
You can't win, France. I've got the higher ground.
Good Lord.
All right, some featured music for this episode. Oh, we got a couple bangers. Baby.
Yes, there are a couple of good ones in this.
We got "Knocking on Heaven's Door."
Great song.
We've got
a little upset it wasn't the Guns N' Roses cover.
Well, I got more information about that later.
Okay, all right.
That's right. It's "Knocking on Heaven's Door" by Bob Dylan.
And now, time to Dougie.
Yeah. Teach me how to Dougie.
R.I.P. M-Bone.
R.I.P. M-Bone.
Why are you so good at Casey Kasem?
I don't know.
Of all the voices to do, why are you so good at Casey Kasem?
Also, Peter Rabbit. He did the voice of Peter Rabbit. It's a very weird thing.
Casey Kasem?
Yes.
When?
He did an animated movie in like the 60s or 70s or something like
I mean,
that.
that's... Oh, God, there's too many things happening
And
right
he
now.
plays Peter Rabbit.
I
so-
barely want to talk about this episode. I kind of only want to go down these tangents.
It's literally, hey, it's me, Peter Rabbit. Like, I swear to God, it's so weird.
That is an insane casting choice. And Casey Kasem
Yeah.
as Peter Rabbit. I mean, that's better than James Corden.
Gonna hop, 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 hop all day long.
And we have to watch out for Farmer McGregor.
That's right. Time for the sock hop. Hop, definitely on Peter Rabbit's mind.
You've even got the cadence. Why are you so good at Casey Kasem?
I don't know.
I hate that is so good.
I wish there was a thing I could do with it.
It's so useless.
It's barely our generation. Like,
Yeah, it's like that is like you know how Bill Hader does all those like weird impressions of like National Geographic
Yes.
hosts and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's like that level of
yeah,
shit.
yeah. It's for no one.
Good lord.
Okay. So the second song. for
Right.
this episode-
Oh yeah, more.
I was like, we're doing something. Brain Damage by Pink Floyd.
Yes, right.
That's
Not Dark Side of the Moon.
No.
No.
This
This would drive Kyle nuts.
Yes.
Yet another example.
Yes.
Just get the song.
That's very funny. TV Guide describes this episode as Sam and Dean are fatally shot and go to heaven, where they encounter some old friends and family members and search for an angel named Joshua who can help them return to Earth.
That's right.
I'm like pulling myself out of the
I
Casey
know.
Kasem.
You all, who can help them return to Earth.
Let's go to the top 10.
Top 10 angels to help you return to your mortal form.
Can't stop. Well, I try to figure out my life. Why don't we open up Dad's journal and learn about some of the real world lore?
Yeah, let's see what the lore says about Joshua.
Whoa,
Baby.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's the guy from this episode.
Yeah. That's why I'm doing it.
Cool.
Jesus.
Less clunky than last week.
What do you know? Last week was good. Last week was Resurrection.
What was it the week before?
The week before was Famine. These are all fine. No, 3 weeks ago was Determinism.
That's what it was. Yeah, there it is.
I see where you're going with this. So, Joshua or Yehoshua is a name that recurs in the Bible, but it mostly refers to the main figure in the book of Joshua from the Old Testament. So, Joshua was a follower of Moses, kind of like his right-hand dude, which is probably what Moses called him.
This is my right hand.
No, and Moses, and introducing Casey Kasem as Moses.
Come, my brothers and sisters.
Top 10 commandments from the Lord.
It's really good.
Jesus Christ.
Continue.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
Nice.
That might not be it. It might not be specifically about your neighbor's wife. I have no idea what the commandments are.
That's not.
I'm
for us.
godless and moralless.
That's not for us to decide.
So he was basically, like Moses' right-hand guy. He's been described as one of the Israelite spies in Canaan. He was a major figure in Exodus. He was there on Mount Sinai when Moses got the 10 Commandments from God. So Book of Joshua takes place post-Moses, post-Mozone. And Joshua basically takes over.
Is that what PM means?
Yeah.
After Moses and
Yeah.
post Moses? Weirdly the same thing.
Yeah, they're the same.
Yeah.
We don't know what time is. So Joshua becomes leader of the Israelites, basically.
Okay.
And then in the book of Joshua, God commands him directly to basically conquer and take possession of the promised land. So this is the book where I'll try and go slightly in order. They go to cross the river Jordan, and once again the waters part, just like they did for Moses. And this is the book that features the Battle of Jericho, which is the city had these walls that they couldn't get past, and God says, march around the city 6 times, and then the walls will come down. That's the story of the Battle of Jericho.
Oh, I thought the Battle of Jericho was when they like went off of the cage. And...
Well, his finisher was called the Walls of Jericho.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, man, Chris Jericho's come up a lot recently too for us.
Different podcast.
But that's in this story. Joshua he conquers some of the promised land and then like divides it among the tribes of Israelites. And kind of negotiates like some common areas, like common fishing, on the shore, and common forest for their like cattle and livestock and stuff.
Yeah,
it's basically about the Israelites taking back the promised land. It's said that after years of conquest, Joshua died at 110 years old. Nice.
What?
Yep. And then there's a couple of sort of interesting things here. In rabbinic literature, Joshua again is sort of regarded as like the right-hand guy to Moses. But they talk about like God would speak to Moses face to face, like someone would speak to his friend. Then he would return to the camp. But his attendant, Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not leave the tent. Joshua never moved from the tent. And it's saying that like Joshua had complete faith in Moses, that he wouldn't have to go and attend to his own things. Moses and God would take care of them. That's what they're trying to say. He's an incredibly devout person. There's some translations of the Bible, the Christian Bible, that kind of position Jesus as like, Jesus is the Son of God in the Bible, obviously, but they also position him like metaphorically as like a successor to Joshua, in terms of leading his people and things like that. Joshua led Israel into the rest of Canaan, but Jesus leads the people of God into God's rest. It's very like metaphorical.
Yeah.
But they're trying to like riff, because Joshua is such a holy figure that I think the New Testament and Christianity tries to glom on to his sort of religious clout a little bit, which is kind of interesting. In Islam, Joshua isn't mentioned by name in the Quran, but he's referenced as an Allah-fearing man, or someone on whom Allah had bestowed his grace, which is kind of makes him stand out from most of the Israelites. Is that in Islam, Joshua is also like highly revered, which is sort of interesting. It's believed by some classical Islamic scholars that Joshua was also a prophetic successor to Moses. So we've already talked about God spoke to him.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily prophecy. He was just saying like, do this now.
He was like, what's up?
He was like, go conquer. And then he'd be like, walk around 6 times. He's just like, but there's some talk about Joshua having been like a prophetic success, like actually be a prophet. And I mean, if your definition of prophet is just that you are in communion with the deity, that would be true for Joshua. It's not so much about like prophecy the way we think of it.
Oh, sure. Not like saying this thing will happen, but it's more
just like God's talking to him.
Yeah.
He's not talking to somebody else, there's that kind of piece to him, which is interesting. But Joshua is meant to be just a mortal man. He's not an angel. He's not some other kind of higher being or anything like that. So the show obviously takes a bit of a departure from that. But Joshua is an extremely biblical name. So
wow, well there you go. Learning a little about Joshi Poo.
Yeah. Oh, also, sorry, I did want to tie this back. The Joshua tree.
Oh,
like the actual plant, which is kind of like is it like related to agave or part of an agave plant or something?
I don't know.
It's named for Joshua.
Yeah, sure.
Like the Mormons or whatever kind of believe that Joshua, like the tree looks like Joshua's hands like reached up to God or something like that. So it's like the Joshua tree is like named for Joshua.
I mean,
Joshua Tree, one of the 3 great U2 albums. Up there with War and Noctung Baby.
It's also a place, right, in California?
Well, there's Joshua Tree National Park.
Yes. Okay.
Which is full of Joshua trees.
Weirdly, I think baked in, like, when everybody takes photos of that place, it's always, like, around a tree. And so
yeah.
I'm always like, is it just one tree?
Yeah, the white tree of Gondor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's Joshua Tree, and
There
now
you
it's
go.
time to get into the episode.
All right.
I'd rather talk about Casey Kasem.
Yeah, Casey. Oh, yeah. And now, with a hit off the Joshua Tree, it's you too.
Oh, no.
See the storm set in your eyes.
Like, what's the big songs from Joshua Tree?
Oh man, Where the Streets Have No Name.
Great song.
Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For.
Great
With
song.
or Without You.
Great
Those
song.
are all on Joshua
God,
Tree.
is that the best album?
It's their best album.
Yeah.
But War and Noctung Baby are also up there.
Yeah.
Those are like the 3 great U2 albums.
Yeah.
And then everything else is varying degrees of like to ugh.
It's what happens when you get too produced and everything is just like
I love that all of these years later, we still complain about getting that album for free.
Oh yeah. Look, it's
If there is a better illustration of consent. That for people is like,
1000%.
remember how angry you were about that U2 album? Now imagine it was something that mattered.
Yes, imagine it was something that was bad.
About like actual personal
Yes.
boundaries and physical violation.
Yeah, imagine instead of the iPod, it was your body.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus. I think the greatest crime of U2, though, might be counting 1, 2, 3, 14 at the start of Vertigo.
What?
Uno, dos, tres, catorce. Catorce is 14.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's insane.
It just sounds cooler than cuatro, I guess.
That's
They
bullshit.
go, uno, dos, tres, catorce.
No one checked it before that went out.
Or I don't know if it was like I don't know that it was like a spell check error. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I think it was just they just did it.
Sure.
Maybe
fair.
it's their 14th out. Like, I don't know. There might be like a reason they did it, but it's stupid.
Absolutely. Most things Bono does is
Yeah.
stupid.
Remember Vertigo?
And the band-
Also, do you remember the song Elevation, the Tomb Raider soundtrack?
Elevation.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
They were a band that made meaningful music, and then everything else came out.
So insane. Even like, I kind of like The Sweetest Thing.
Yeah, that's a good song.
I kind of like Beautiful Day.
It's
like, those aren't
Beautiful Day.
horrible.
Yeah.
Vertigo, you're like, I don't know what this is. And then everything, like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And
What if
worse.
the guitar player wrote everything from now on?
The Edge?
Yes, that. I watched a thing once where they like showed how he set up his guitar and stuff, and it was the craziest setup I've ever seen. And I was like, but this doesn't make music. This just makes sounds.
I mean, that
And-
tracks.
Yeah, it's a guy just being like, it's what happens when you get like a guitar head who like is really into effects, and then who's just like, what if I could just do anything I wanted? And it's like, well, yeah.
Also, what if I only played one string?
yes,
Over and over, like
Yeah.
like that's the U2 sound, right? It's like over
yes,
picking one string.
and it worked for a few albums. Anyways, let's get into this episode.
Fine.
We begin with the then, which is Dean dying, Sam dying, Castiel's search for God, and Dean's amulet.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see lots of montages of their deaths.
Yes.
Various deaths.
yeah, and it's
From Mystery Spot, from the end of season 2, from...
It's setting up these guys die a lot, and they're looking for God.
It is funny to think already how much they've died.
It's funny. I've got a little bit more to go on.
Sam
that.
died just like 2 episodes ago,
Yeah.
3 episodes ago, in that determinism episode.
Yes.
You know?
All right. Well, let's get into the actual episode, which begins with their motel room.
Right.
Sam and Dean are awakened to find themselves at the gun points of 2 ski masked men.
Well, yeah, Dean wakes up with a gun in his face. Sam's already up.
Yes.
And yeah, these 2 guys are holding shotguns on
Yeah.
them.
Dean recognizes them as the hunters Roy and Walt,
Yeah.
both of whom are out for Sam's blood for starting the apocalypse.
Yeah, and pretty quickly they just shoot Roy.
Well, yeah.
Roy or Walt, one of them.
Yes.
Walt
shoots
and
Sam.
kills Sam, and Dean is obviously upset.
Roy's
like,
hesitant.
okay, we should get out of here. Walt's like, we got to kill Dean. He's like, you want to spend the rest of your life knowing
Dean
that
Winchester.
Dean's after you? He's like, he made us, right? Like,
Yeah.
he knows who we are. Do you really want to do that? I don't.
It's like
Roy won't do it, and Walt just does it.
Yeah.
This episode opens with Sam and Dean being blown away.
Great intro.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah, a great. I love this type of intro. It's great.
The hunters also say, like, we're not the only hunters looking for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dean has a great line where he says, like, when I come back,
Yeah.
I'm going to be angry.
I love the confidence at this level because they're like, I mean, we don't die.
Yeah. And also he knows, he's like, I'm like, they've already said, like, angels and demons have explicitly said to both of them, if you kill yourself, we'll just bring you back.
Yeah. So it's like,
like,
to be able to like, and how terrifying it is for those guys to be like, huh, like, what if though?
yeah. I mean, that's an insane thing to hear before.
Yeah.
Somebody is like, when I come back.
Yeah, like do this because I'm coming back.
Yeah. It's fucked.
So Dean then wakes up again.
Yes.
This time alone in the Impala,
Yeah.
confused and disoriented.
Yeah.
He gets out, and young Sammy runs up bearing a box full of fireworks.
Yeah.
He's headed towards a field and tells him to come on. Dean thinks he is having a weird dream and follows along. When Sam excitedly tells him to fire them up, Dean finds a long-lost lighter in his pocket and sets them off.
Yeah. And then he's like, wait a minute, I remember this. This is
4th of July.
4th of July, 1996.
That's right.
And we kind of, little Sammy says, like, Dad would never let us do this. Thank you, Dean. This is amazing. And, the fireworks are going off, and Dean looks so happy, and there's this, like, montage. He set off the whole box, and Sammy's, like, dancing in the sparks. It's like, you're like, oh, my God, they could have been happy.
What
They
what
could
song
have had
is
a
playing?
normal life.
What song is
Well,
playing?
Knocking on Heaven's Door.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is the Bob.
Mama put my guns in the ground.
This is the Bob Dylan version. The song has been covered by other artists, namely Eric Clapton and Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses one was huge.
The most successful version was, of course, number 12 on the Hot 100 charts.
Number 12.
And 5 on the adult contemporary. Guns N' Roses finished 18th on the U.S. mainstream.
Hey, yeah. Knocking on heaven's door.
While Clapton's reggae version failed to chart.
Yeah, obviously.
I do love that.
Obviously.
The pleasant experience suddenly ends when Dean has a flashback of him and Sam being shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he kind of looks around, and then Sammy's gone.
Yeah.
He's just sort of standing in the field.
That's right. And
He
returns
gets
to
back
the car.
in the car, and then the radio... Well, he doesn't get in. He gets back to the car,
Yes.
and then the radio kicks on, and we get a Dean. He's like, Cass? He's like, yeah, it's me, Dean.
At first, he's annoyed that Cass is poking around in his dreams, but Castiel informs him that he and his brothers were killed offhandedly, offering his condolences, and are now in heaven.
Yeah.
I do like the fact
It's not a dream.
I do
You're
like
dead.
that he's like
My condolences.
he's like, we really need to talk about like personal space. Like you got to stop going into my dreams. He tells Dean to follow the Axis
But you
Mundi.
summoned me, Dean.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I brought the toys you requested.
Oh no. He tells Dean to follow the Axis Mundi to locate Sam.
Yeah, he's like, he says something to the effect of like, what do you see? And Dean's like, what the fuck do you mean? And he's like, is there a river or a valley or whatever? And Dean's like, I'm just in the car. He's like, great, it's a road. Follow the road. You're on the Axis Mundi. It's like the central road in like, or
In heaven,
byway
yeah.
in heaven. You need to get down that road, and it'll help you find Sam.
Exactly. We now find Sam is at Thanksgiving dinner with a family of his schoolmate Stephanie.
I understand what's happening in this scene.
I know.
Just like I understand what's happening in the last scene, but it's deeply uncomfortable.
Yep. With Stephanie, who is letting her fingers do the walking on Sam's lap under the table.
Yeah, like it's like a family Thanksgiving. It's clearly a memory of Sam's from when he's like in middle school. She's, brace faced and all that kind of stuff. But it's just I know what's happening, and it's so uncomfortable. That's not even like a nitpick with the show. It's just a like, man, why is heaven like this? Like, shouldn't he at least
Remember that
It's
time
funny-
that grade school girl grabbed your leg?
Because this is if the idea is that you relive your greatest hits in heaven, which is a
Yes.
point they kind of come to in this
yeah.
scene, that you relive your great memories, and that's what heaven is for people. Shouldn't that mean you relive them as they happen? Not like me as a 40-year-old would love to remember that time. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think
I
that
know
it
why
is-
I know why it's set up this
Yeah.
way. I know why we see them the way they do. No one else in the scene is playing it like he's an adult. I get it. But there's something about like seeing them as adults implies that they have the full host of their memories and
Yes.
life experience, which they do.
Yes.
So then to relive memories in that way, as opposed to just getting to replay them or see them
Yes.
or remember or like be in the body of
Yes.
yourself and just live in that moment again, feels weird.
Yeah, like I wouldn't.
It doesn't break the show at all, but it is a kind of like why is heaven like this?
I wouldn't want to relive my earliest sexual experiences as an adult. I would want
Yes.
to. I would want to also.
I mean, I might not want to relive them ever, but certainly not as me now.
that's a weird thing to say. But I would want to be in the same mindset as I was then, with the same amount of experience.
Yeah,
in life.
exactly. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you start picking at that thread. Yeah.
It's best to leave it, I think. It's best to just be like, "Meh, heaven."
Yes. Yeah. Dean appears, and Sam thinks that he's crashing his dream, but Dean informs him that they are in fact dead. And Sam
Is
finds
that worse?
Yeah. I like that Sam finds it hard to believe because he's like, you in heaven, sure, but me?
Yeah, he's like, the shit I've done?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, I also like that Dean is like, wait a minute. Like, this is your fucking heaven?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he's like, he's
Sam
like
says
playing
it's
footsie
the-
with Bray's face.
And Sam's like, it's my first real Thanksgiving. And
Yeah.
Dean's like, we always had Thanksgiving. He's like, Dad was an alcoholic and we'd get like a KFC bucket. Like,
Yeah. But that's when a sudden rumbling by a searchlight takes the brothers by surprise, and they hide.
here, okay. The implication, and we learn it shortly in this scene, is that when the lights go out, the rest of the family, like no one misses a stride
Yeah,
when
yeah,
Sam
yeah,
gets
yeah.
up from the table. The memory just kind of keeps playing as if
Yeah.
he's there, which is also a weird
Eerie thing. Yeah.
But at any rate, the lights dim. No one bats an eye. There's this searchlight thing, and Dean and Sam have to avoid it. What we learn in this scene is that Zachariah is looking for them. So that searchlight is like, he's an angel. That's the gaze or whatever. But it really has the feeling of, like in a video game where they have to give you
Yes.
what a character's field of vision is.
Yes.
Because the idea that like they're in heaven, but he can only see.
In a
He's like Eye
spotlight.
of Sauron. Like
Yes.
just kind of. I know why those things happen. I know why Lord of the Rings does that with Sauron. So it's like we need some version of he can only see so much.
Yes.
Or we need, like, or in a video game, right? The searchlight comes around. As long as you're not in the field, you're fine. But it did feel really funny to me.
100%. When
Again,
it's heaven.
It doesn't break anything. We've already established lots of rules to how things work, and we know, like, angels aren't all powerful. They have their own host of rules and stuff like that. It doesn't break anything, but it did make me laugh. Because it's like, it's to the point where it's like there's a searchlight here and Sam's just outside. It's like, well, he'd see him.
There's also nothing
It's
like
not pitch black.
there's also nothing like angelic about that searchlight. It's literally just like
That's true. It's not. It isn't like the like.
but it's also
thing,
not
right?
like it's not like being able to like intelligently look for things. It's very much like clunky the way that like a searchlight moves.
It has like a prison yard kind
Yes.
of like sweep to it. Yeah.
It's like very jangity, like a man is holding
I
it.
love the idea of Zachariah being like, well, I did a kind of cursory whoop whoop through that room, and they're definitely not there.
Very funny.
It's like, this is like Sam's heaven.
Yeah.
It must be known. You know what I mean? So he's like, if you scan Sam's heaven and you don't see Sam,
That's weird.
You shouldn't move on.
No.
You should like find him.
So funny.
It did make me laugh. I don't think it breaks anything necessarily, but it was kind of funny.
Totally. Once that searchlight's gone, Dean quickly explains how Castiel contacted him before and manages to find him again, this time over television.
I kind of like this. It makes me think of like Dean even brings it up later, but like it makes me think of the Matrix. We have to use these like old technologies to talk to the person on the outside kind of thing.
It's funny that you say that. We'll bring it up in a minute. But there is a line where Castiel, he talks about the searchlight, and Castiel says, "Don't go towards the light." Dean replies with, "Okay, thanks, Carol Ann," which is an homage to Poltergeist from 1982.
Yes.
Also, Castiel is speaking to them through a television.
Yeah,
So.
it's a good little moment. Yeah.
Castiel tells them the rumbling light is Zachariah and to avoid him at all costs.
Yes, and remember, he has 30 hit points, so you're gonna need to distract it. He's kind of like the boss fight.
You're gonna need to learn the patterns so that you can.
It's like a Zelda boss.
Yeah. He intends to send them back to Earth because they can't say yes to Michael and Lucifer if they are dead. Although Sam and Dean do not see this as a bad thing, Castiel, who still can't return to heaven, explains that since they are behind the wall, they have the perfect opportunity to find out where God is.
Yeah, he's like, this is like, you're the man on the inside.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to follow that Axis Mundi all the way to the center of heaven, to the garden, he calls it, and you have to find this angel Joshua, because it said Joshua speaks directly with God.
Yeah, exactly. So Castiel's instruction for them are to follow this Axis Mundi, which for them specifically manifests as a 2-lane asphalt. When they walk out of the house, they find that they're in the forest where the road was before. They go back inside, and when Dean inspects a closet for a lead, he recognizes a toy car and racetrack from his childhood. When he places the car on the track, they suddenly find themselves in a child's bedroom. Yeah,
and then Dean is wearing his t-shirt that says, like, I love hugs or something like that.
It's hot as hell.
Easy.
When Sam and Dean are in Dean's childhood bedroom, there's a blanket on his bed that has rows of running horses and that alternate with rows of Native American geometric design. The blanket appeared earlier in the season in the episode I Believe the Children Are Our Future. It can be seen on the bed belonging to Jesse, the half-human, half-demon boy who has powerful supernatural abilities.
Interesting.
After Dean realizes that it is his own room in Lawrence, their mother peeks in and asks if Dean is hungry. They are both too stunned to speak.
I mean, they're not the only ones.
I'd say I'm thirsty for mommy.
I mean, what a smoke show.
I mean, absolute.
Just crazy.
Yeah. Too hot. Too hot to handle.
Easy. I mean, she really is at a certain point, but that's on the ceiling.
Yeah. Sam watches offside as Mary serves Dean lunch, taking care of the crusts.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh
hang on.
God. Wow. I'm glad you're so prepared for this thing I don't want.
I said hang on.
Cut the crust off as PB and J for him. Just do it on your phone. Why are you doing it?
Hello, Reed. Hello, Richard.
Want to play a game?
I've heard you don't like this segment, so I'm hoping this little jingle will turn you into a sandwich slut. Richard, do you want to build a segment? It could be real fun. You don't seem happy anymore. You just want lower, not meaty buns. We're all just sandwich slutties until we're not. I like my meat on rye. Do you want to build a segment? It's time for sandwich segments.
Really?
Okay, bye.
What? Holy shit.
Good Lord. That is straight out of a nightmare.
Also an incredible Crowley impression.
That's wild.
Oh my God.
It's the Supernatural Sandwich segment. Thank you, Yo Crow, for that new drop.
Holy shit.
Wild. You might think that I'd be doing something reductive, talking about PB&J. I'm not.
Okay.
Doing something reductive in that I typed in the words heaven sandwich into Google, and I found 2 in the top page of results, sandwiches named a heaven sandwich. I did this because I was like, maybe that's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, in the way that there's like, you know what a Cubano is or whatever. Like, maybe a heaven sandwich is a thing and I don't know it. It's not, but both of these sound horrible.
Oh.
Like, I think these both must have been made by atheists.
Okay.
So I want to describe a couple of these heaven sandwiches. So this one heaven sandwich is basically just like make a bunch of dry ground meat and then put it on white bread. Like, this is the image of it. They call that
ew.
a heaven sandwich. Here's the ingredients. Shallots, water, low sodium soy sauce, dried parsley, dried basil, garlic powder, ground beef. And then for the special sauce, mayonnaise, Catalina dressing, ketchup, and spicy brown mustard.
What?
I don't think those 4 work for me.
Nor describe heaven to me.
Yeah. And then for serving, put it on a hoagie bun. Then it says Swiss cheese. You could also use another cheese. So it's like, they don't give a shit.
Dude, I mean, that sandwich does not give a shit.
No, the sandwich looks horrible. Here's like, you make it in an Instant Pot too for some reason.
What?
Instead of sauteing it. Oh, no, it turned Instant Pot to saute setting. So we're not going to turn our oven on. When display says hot, add in the shallot, water, soy sauce, parsley, basil, garlic powder. Cook for 3 to 4 minutes.
Well, so you never actually use the Instant Pot as an Instant Pot?
I guess.
You just use it as the saute setting?
I guess. Brown beef. Add in the beef and break it up and brown for 5 minutes. There'll still be a little pink in the meat. That's okay. I'm
Nice.
actually not sure it is.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it? I thought the whole point, though, with ground meat is that with a steak, you know what the surface is and what's on the inside. So you can have it rare because the inside won't get the bacteria, the outside will. When you grind the meat, it all mixes up. So that's why you have to cook it all.
Yeah, but that's only when you don't know where your meat's coming from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the reason why in America you're actually allowed to have like medium rare hamburgers.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to take like food safety from the
No.
tips from America.
I mean, there's a reason why Canada has it because they couldn't trust it for too long. But
Okay, then slow cook the beef. So you've already
so you
cooked it,
do, okay.
and then cancel the saute setting. Cover the Instant Pot.
so you are doing the Instant Pot.
Set 30 minutes. Blah blah blah. Prepare the sauce. Prepare it. Stirring mayo, dressing, ketchup, and mustard together in a small bowl. Refrigerate. Good preparation.
Yeah, great.
And then serve. It's a split the rolls. Slather with sauce. Put cheese on top. Place under oven's broiler. So we are turning the oven on. You put it in the broiler just for the fucking bread until the cheese melts. Heap the meat
Whatever
mixture.
fucking cheese you want.
Heap the meat mixture
Ew.
on top and serve.
Ew.
They call that a fucking heaven sandwich. Horrible. Here's the other one I found. It's somehow worse.
Oh.
That one, it just sounds like, it actually sounds like fine, but like, that's not what I call like heaven. That's just like a weird, greasy diner.
Yeah, it's
like
not heavenly.
Sandwich.
No.
You know what I mean? This one is called a heaven sandwich. So, preparation. This could not be easier or more delicious. Slice zucchini into rounds. Make them as thin or thick as you want.
Nice.
But keep in mind, if they're thicker, they'll take longer to saute.
If you know what I mean.
Add a tablespoon of olive oil to the saute pan. Add the zucchini slices. Mix and flip the slices to evenly coat them. Blah, 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 blah. Once the zucchini slices start to get floppy and clear in the center, add a dash of salt or your choice of seasoning. All these recipes are like, I don't know, do whatever the fuck you want. I've experimented with all sorts of spices in this dish.
God.
But good old salt is my preference. Ugh. I found when I use Gruyere cheese, I use less salt. If I use mozzarella cheese, I need more salt. Those two cheeses are not interchangeable. I also recommend adding a dash of pepper. Hey, have you ever tried making your food taste like something? The zucchini slices should be covered in oil, but not drowning in it. Add another tablespoon of oil if the slices seem dry, blah, blah, blah. Then drain them, mix and flip the slices. Add a handful of shredded cheese and then let it melt. Gently fold the zucchini into the cheese until the slices are coated. Slide the zucchini out of the pan and onto one of the pieces of bread.
Oh, hell yeah.
Top it off with the other piece of bread.
Make a sandwich.
I love the way that's phrased.
Top it all off.
If you're feeling saucy, top it off with another piece of bread.
to make it a fucking
It
sandwich.
sounds so optional. I highly recommend adding several dashes of hot sauce to a cup of tomato soup and
Ew,
using that
what?
as a dip for the sandwich. So that's it. It's just
a zucchini
it's just
sandwich?
pan fry a bunch of zucchini, maybe put salt and pepper on it, put that on bread, and dip it in something else that has flavor. That's a heaven sandwich. Isn't that fucking insane?
Yeah.
What is wrong with people?
Wow, that's Thought a heaven sandwich is when two angels go down on you, but
I mean, that's better.
Yeah.
But at any rate, that's the supernatural sandwich segment.
oh no, you don't need to play it at the end too.
Hello, Reed. Hello, Richard.
It's not even a
Now,
song.
Richard, I've heard you don't like this segment.
This is
so
not-
I'm hoping this little jingle will turn you into
It's not
a
an
sandwich
outro.
slut. Richard, do you want to build a segment?
It's a very good Crowley.
It could be real fun. You don't seem happy anymore.
It sounds exactly
You
like
just
Crowley.
want more not meaty buns. We're all just sandwich slutties until we're not. I like my meat on rye. Do you want to build a segment? It's time for sandwich segments.
Really?
Okay, bye.
Thank you, darling.
I mean, a truly insane drop.
I love it.
It might be the best one yet.
Yeah, it's just you need an outro.
No.
You play the same intro. It loses its luster.
That's the bit.
Is that the bit?
I don't come over
The
there.
bit is about playing the same thing.
I don't
beginning
come
and
over
end?
there and tell you how to phone in international titles.
Wow. So his mom cuts the crust off his PB&J.
Oh, that reminds me.
No. Sam calls out to her, but she doesn't hear him. Dean says it must be because it's not his memory.
Yeah.
Sam suggests they get back on the road, but Dean asks that he let him just have a minute.
Yeah.
When Mary answers a phone call from John and argues with him, Dean remembers that it must have been the time that his dad moved out for a few days because his parents were fighting.
Yeah. And then Sam's like, I thought they had a perfect marriage. And Dean's like, the only thing that was perfect, it was only perfect after she died.
Just a dark thing to
Yeah,
say.
and Sam says like, "Oh man, I had no idea like how long you've been cleaning up Dad's messes." Because like Dean knows this memory, so when she hangs up the phone, he walks over and says, "It's okay, Mom. I love you. Dad loves you too." Like you could tell he's like saying it the way he would have said it when he was like 4, which is heartbreaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
As they search for ways back to the road,
That dress that she's wearing. Sorry, I just gotta say.
yes.
Oof.
Look, I get it. Sam recognizes a post.
She's on fire.
From downtown. Sam recognizes a postcard from Route 66 in a drawer, and they find themselves suddenly standing in a trailer.
Yeah.
A golden retriever runs in and greets Sam.
Yeah, and Sam's like, "It's my dog, Bones."
That's also not a dog you call Bones. A fucking golden retriever.
Why not?
Because that's
They're
like
just dogs. Who gives a shit what you name them?
tread lightly. You're going to get a fucking like reaction from this fan base. I'm telling you.
It doesn't matter. They're just animals. You can name them whatever you want.
You're talking about the residents or?
Yeah.
Yeah. The fan base?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about the listeners. You
Yeah.
can name them whatever you want.
Yeah, they're just fucking animals.
They're just animals.
That is not a dog you call Bones.
Doesn't matter. It's fine. It's inconsequential.
The best part of this episode is when your cute dog comes up.
It's fine. Seems kind of neglected.
Light him up. You're wrong here. I'm sorry. More people like dogs than you.
That doesn't mean I'm wrong. That just means more people have been swayed by propaganda.
By Big
Pet.
Dog. Yeah.
Big Pet.
Oh my God.
We're gonna hang out with 17's mom. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Dean is confused until he realizes they are in Flagstaff.
Yeah. Sam is like having a great time. He's like, "This is my dog," and Dean's like, "We didn't have a dog." He's like, "Yeah, I had a dog. This was a great weekend." And Dean's
2
like,
weeks I lived off Funyuns and Mr. Pibb.
And Dean's like, "That's how you remember this? I thought I lost you." Like Dean stopped short of saying, "Dad beat the piss out of me."
Yeah.
Like Dean is like, "This is not a good weekend ever." And Sam's like, I didn't know.
Yeah, this was this ruled for me.
Yeah.
Dean wants to forget it and keep moving. They step out into the night and onto the road. When they look back, the trailer is gone, and they are outside of a house that Dean doesn't recognize.
And
first.
Sam like wants to get out of there. Like Sam knows what it is, but he's like, no, I don't remember. We should go.
Yeah.
And then Dean, and it clicks for Dean. He's like, this is the fucking night you left us
You ditched us for Stanford.
to go to university.
He comes undone and tells Sam that night was one of the worst nights of his life.
And Sam was like, he's like, this is your heaven? Like, these are your memories? And he's like, I got away from Dad. And he's like, but I'm your family. He's like, I know, I can't control this, Dean. I'm not like making this show up.
Dean tries to process the fact that all of Sam's treasured memories are centered around being away from his family.
Yeah.
Sam uses the fact that like he's like Mom never cut the fucking crust off my thing. Like I was
a baby. Like I don't have the memories of family this way. And Dean's like, but what about me? Where like all of these are still like getting away from me.
He's like, I thought it was the two of us against the world.
Yeah.
And Sam's like, it is, but like, what do you expect from me? Like,
exactly.
The argument is cut short when the searchlight suddenly beams down directly on them.
I do love that. Like it's on Dean, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he like runs, and then it's not on him. Like Zachariah can't keep up.
It's like this clunky movement. Like
Zachariah's gaze can't keep up with.
I fucking love it.
It is.
It's very funny.
Listen, they're making a TV show. They got a budget. They got to
work with what they got,
and it's relatively creative.
Also, like when
it is just objectively funny.
Yes, when you're in a situation where they're like, "Oh, a spotlight hits them. We've got that." Like, I think
exactly.
You don't really think about the like mechanics of it, probably.
I do think that you're right though, which is that you don't want to load things up with effects, but there could have been a treatment to the light,
yes,
to make it feel just less like a random searchlight,
a dude
and more
with
like
a searchlight,
something a little more
like intelligent,
yeah. And part of that is the movement of the light, the intelligence of it, and part of it is just the actual quality of the light itself.
That's the thing.
The color of the light. You know,
Yeah.
the edges are so crisp there. If they were a little like softer, it might feel a bit more like a heaven's light.
Like
kind
the
of thing.
Eye of Sauron like moves not like a searchlight. It's very like sporadic and like this is literally just like, oh, hold on, someone's got to turn it. Like
yeah, and cue searchlight.
Yes, very funny. They run into the woods and hide, and that's when Zachariah, we see him suddenly strolling through the woods looking for them.
Yeah, they managed to hide behind a log.
Yeah, nice.
It's
not a fucking ring race.
It is funny though too that like Zachariah's like, he even says like, you're on my turf. You think you're gonna hide in heaven from me? And I was kind of like, they've been doing a good job.
Yeah. Your searchlight's surprisingly not that great.
Yeah.
He wants to send them back to Earth. That's all. That's it. He adds after he inflicts some.
He says, "I'm going to tear you a cosmos of new ones." First.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just when it seems that Zachariah has them, a man in a luchador mask appears and tells them to follow him.
Yeah.
He
Which
runs.
is wild.
He runs to a small shed in the woods, scrawls some Enochian symbols on the door, and leads them inside.
And he takes the. This is, I mean, we're doing a lot of Lord of the Rings references.
Yes.
But he's like backlit and stuff.
Yes.
It's kind of like like the Gandalf reveal.
Yeah.
But he takes off his mask and stuff, and it's fucking Ash.
Yeah, baby.
He's back.
Ash's Heaven Roadhouse smells like bud, blood, and beer nuts. Which, but it's funny because so beer nuts is like a real thing. I know people like say that a lot, but like you never really see it on shelves. But it's still on the market today.
Yeah, I buy beer nuts sometimes.
In 1953, this sweet and salty glazed peanut snack food came out. It quickly became a standard snack in bars across the country. I've never had it in a bar.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I have.
I've had actual peanuts in a bar, and like where you throw the shells on the ground and stuff like that. But like I've never actually had beer nuts in a bar.
Oh yeah, I've had beer nuts.
Over some beers, Ash explains heaven to Sam and Dean. Firstly, he says that they have to stop thinking of heaven as just as one place.
Yeah, he's like, it's like a billion places.
100
He's like, think of it like
places.
Disneyland. There's like, you get your part of the theme park, I get my part of the theme park. Everyone who has ever gone to heaven gets their part of the theme park. But at the center of it is, he says, the Magic Kingdom. He's like, there's the one kind of like the hub of heaven.
It's important to say that it was 100 million because Ash tells the brothers
100
that
billion. I think.
100 billion individual heavens. Considering that the number of humans that have lived and died since 50,000 BC is estimated at 106.5 billion, that roughly puts at 5% of the total human population in hell. This means that in the supernatural...
That's it?
Yep.
It doesn't seem like heaven should be that worried about losing the apocalypse then. You know what I mean? Like, if you want, like, a horde of demons, all that, it kind of feels like more people should be in hell.
This means that in the supernatural universe, religion is not a deciding factor for afterlife destinations. Or since Ash said, but like 100,000 heavens, it is also possible that he was using the number to represent not roughly 100,000, but an impossibly large number of heavens, not exactly 100,000.
100 billion.
100 billion.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely both, right? But also, it's like, there should be more people in hell.
Yeah. He likens it to Disneyland without all
But we do learn in a way later season that it isn't religion that determines you going to heaven.
Yeah.
And we learn why, and we learn how it happens.
But we're not there.
yet. But there are mechanisms, and the show does circle back to it.
Yes, of course it does. He likens it to Disneyland without all the anti-Semitism, and at the center of it, the Magic Kingdom, the garden.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Disney references in this episode. Ash continues to compare heaven to Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom. The two hunters who kill Sam and Dean are also named Walt and Roy. The Walt Disney brother's name is Roy. So it's
really?
Yeah.
Roy Disney?
Oh, did you not know that? Oh, yeah.
That's kind of a letdown.
There's a really great...
It feels like he should have a different name. Roy?
Yeah.
Walt Disney and Roy Disney. That sounds like Fred Claus. That's what that sounds like.
Well, that's
to
like
me.
the whole Dave Franco thing. Which I really love.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone gets their own slice of paradise except for special cases who can share.
Yeah, he says like soulmates or whatever.
Yeah. Ash tells Sam and Dean most people...
Which, he said that? I have thoughts of several years from now.
We'll get there. Ash tells Sam and Dean most people can't leave their own private Idaho. He's referring to River Phoenix's cult classic movie, My Own Private Idaho from 1981, and the 1980 hit song on which its title is based, Your Own Private Idaho by the B-52s.
Sure.
He looks at Sam and Dean ponderously for a moment, just long enough for them to recall their last argument as they avoid eye contact with each other. He then goes on explaining normally each person is bound to their respective heaven. But being a master genius, he's found a way to visit other heavens.
Yeah, he says he's visited Einstein and Jim Morrison and someone else. He visits the person who invented the Kama Sutra.
Yes, Malanaga Vatsayana, the Indian mythical sage of the Asaras demigods, to whom erotic sciences and in particular the Kama Sutra are attributed. Ash's pronunciation is extremely misleading, but he does get the name right.
I want to be an erotic scientist. I've studied the erotic sciences.
When Sam asks how he found them, he reveals his very own Holy Roland police scanner, a tricked out laptop repurposed to received angel radio.
Yeah, and we listen to it, we just hear that screech, and he's like, I'm fluent now.
Love it.
I love the idea that they're just like, that Ash, the guy who could build or figure out anything, also does that in heaven.
I love that.
I like that for him.
The boys are surprised to learn that they've been there before. So Ash concludes that the angels must have Windexed their brains each time they were revived.
Yeah, he's like, no one dies as much as you guys.
So it's funny that
must mean that like in Mystery Spot, every time Dean died.
Well, let's talk about that because I actually don't think so.
Okay.
So while this is true, only Sam would have been in heaven prior to this, not Dean.
And that would have been from season 2?
Yeah. While Dean was technically killed and brought back to life over and over 100 times in Supernatural Mystery Spot by the Archangel Gabriel, whom they thought was the trickster Loki at the time, the timeline was instantly reset each time Dean died. So his soul never actually ended up in heaven because it was like instantaneous.
Right.
The second he died, he rewoke. Right. Plus, Gabriel didn't want any of the other angels to know that he was still alive, so he would have kept Dean's soul out of heaven.
That is fair. Right. That
As
makes sense.
an archangel, he is one of the very few entities powerful enough to keep a soul out of heaven. Outside of Gabriel's time loop, Dean has only died once at this point, and his soul went to hell.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Sam has died 3 times up to this point. So, first, all hell breaks loose, part 1. He was stabbed in the back and killed by Jake, one of Azazel's other psychic kids.
Yeah. Aldous Hodge.
Next time Sam was killed was in wishful thinking, when he was struck by lightning after a girl named Hope wished at a magic well, and Sam died in order to protect the man she was forced to fall in love with.
That's right. I remember that.
The third time Sam died was The Song Remains the Same.
Yeah.
He was killed by the angel, the Seraphana, who traveled back in time to kill his parents. So 3 times Sam has died. It's worth noting also that as time passes differently in heaven, just like it does in hell, so Sam has likely spent a good deal of time with Ash each of the times that he was in heaven, especially the first time he died. If a month on Earth is a decade in hell, then likely a few days in Earth equals a few years in heaven.
Yeah.
And a few hours equals a few weeks.
Yeah.
So this leads them to ask if he's found Ellen or Joe. The news of their death leaves him shaken, but the boys assured him that they went out fighting. After telling them that he has been on the lookout for their parents, he hasn't found them yet. He says that he did find someone who wants to see them, though. Pamela Barnes, baby.
I mean, another smoke show. Good Lord.
Yep. Both types of women I'm interested in.
It's a real Betty and Veronica situation.
Yeah. I want somebody to kind of treat me like shit and someone to really love me.
Man.
I'm sick. Dean and Pamela migrate to a table for 2 while Sam sits at the bar with Ash, observing as he devises a direct route to the garden.
Yeah, I love that he's saying, like, it's a practical application of string theory. And then we just kind of and we like move over to Dean and Pam.
When Pam gives Dean a half-powered smack upside the head for getting her killed, Dean says he probably deserves worse and mentions that they got Ash killed too, if that makes any better.
She has an interesting...
Ash says he's cool with it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm cool with it. Pamela has an interesting thing that she brings up here where she goes like, why are you fighting Michael this hard? And he's like, because a bunch of people are going to die. And she's like, and they'll come here.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's... And he's like, but this is like... These are like little prisons. And she's like, but I'm happy. And she kind of makes the point of like, I don't know, maybe there's worse things than this.
Dean says
life's pretty bad.
Yeah.
This isn't. And even if it's not real, as Dean puts it, it's pretty good. This is where Dean brings up the Matrix and shit. But also... we've just, in the last few episodes, we've established team free will, which means that it's not about happiness.
No.
It's about
making your own decision.
Exactly. Even if it's miserable.
Yeah.
Which is, but I thought it's an interesting thing.
It's important to bring up, I think. Yeah. It's like, if you know that heaven exists, why fucking live on Earth?
So, and she's like, I'm just saying, like, maybe don't fight it so hard.
Mm-hmm.
If it happens, maybe that's fine.
Yeah, because she's like, it's better than ending up in hell. Another awesome thing Ace has discovered in heaven is a practical application of string theory, which he uses to come up with a shortcut to the garden.
Yeah.
He draws an Enochian formula on the exit door that will work as an all-access pass to the Magic Kingdom for the Winchesters.
Yes.
But warns them that Zachariah will have every road to the garden under close watch.
Yeah.
And after Pamela gives Sam a big hug and lays a pre-planned farewell kiss on Dean, they prepare to leave.
She goes for it.
Yeah. Good on her.
She says, like,
it's as good as I thought it was.
As good as I thought, or just what I expected, or something. Yeah. And Dean is kind of like
Ash says he has a feeling he'll be seeing them again soon. He actually won't. This is the last time we see Ash on the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll be seeing you.
I thought you were going to, I will remember.
No, I say I'll be seeing you.
Oh. Dean tells him
Classic
to keep
jazz standard.
a 6-pack on ice for them.
Yeah.
But again, we never see Ash again.
Oh.
As they walk through the doorway, they are confused to find that they are back in their childhood home at nighttime.
Yeah.
Mary appears and asks Dean if he is awakened by a nightmare. Dean apologetically tells her that he loves her.
He's just like, you're not real. I don't have time for this. And then she goes, can I tell you about my nightmare? And you go,
Her eyes turn yellow and the atmosphere of the room becomes harsh. She then goes on to describe the disturbing details about her death, the silver lining of which is that she was finally away from him.
She's like, I didn't love you. I was shackled to you, blah, 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 blah. It's pretty fucked up. And it's either her or Zachariah, who shows up shortly, who says, like, isn't it funny that, like, everybody's idea of heaven is being away from you? Maybe it's not them. Maybe you're the problem.
While she laughs at his
classic
distress,
mind game scenario, but still hurtful.
After she says that, she laughs and Zachariah appears.
Yeah.
When the boys realize the whole episode was his doing, they move back to strike but are seized from behind by his henchmen. So Zachariah says that in heaven he has 4 faces, one of which was a lion. This would make him a cherub in the Christian angelic hierarchy. It is the cherub's job to guard the way to the Garden of Eden, as well as God's throne, which is exactly what he is doing when he stops Sam and Dean from entering the garden.
This is an interesting, we're obviously lore whores here. I really like this scene.
Can I just tell you why you like this scene? Is it because it's The Matrix again?
I mean, a little.
Because Dean mentions the movie when Ash navigates Angel Radio on his computer in a fashion very similar to the way that the operators navigate the Matrix. Zachariah mentions he has 4 heads, making him a seraph, which is the name of the character in the trilogy.
Seraph is the one that guards the way to the Oracle. At the beginning of Matrix Reloaded.
The character of Joshua reveals several traits with the Oracle. And finally, when Zachariah catches the boys, the room is bathed in green light, alluding to a very green-looking world inside the Matrix.
I do like it for all of those reasons. But I also like it because we get this sort of like the inner politics of heaven a little bit too, where Zachariah is like, I was employee of the month.
Forever.
I had respect, and then I couldn't make you. He's just stopped short of saying mud monkeys like Ariel would. He's like, I couldn't make you 2 flannel wearing pieces of shit say yes to your angelic calling. He's like, I'm being laughed at, and he's like, listen, Lucifer is strong, but I'm fucking petty, and I'm going to make you pay for like the ridicule that's been heaped on me in heaven. Essentially,
there's a scene I think that hasn't come on the show yet where he's sitting at a bar that I really really love. I love that shit.
Yeah. It's very good. And so he's like, I'm gonna fucking rip you apart and put you back together like a million fucking times before I bring you back to life.
But first I'm gonna fuck your mom.
He like literally is like, he gives a little like weird neck kiss. He's like, I think me and your mom are gonna be spending a lot of time together.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
gonna
that that's
lay
what
a
it comes
bunch
down.
of fucking heavenly pipe.
I love that it comes down to, and I'm gonna fuck your mom. Like it's so like childish.
It is petty.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's talking about being petty, that's it's also pretty fucked up, because then you're like, is this actually Mary? And now he's like stripped her mind.
Yeah.
Or is this all just like
illusion.
an illusion? There's, I don't know, there are questions there. One of those is a considerably darker version of this than
I'm going to
others.
assume that it's an illusion.
Yeah.
He informs them bitterly that whether they say yes or not, it's become personal.
Yeah.
And he is a fouler enemy to have than Lucifer, because while Lucifer is strong, he is petty.
Yeah.
Zachariah's planned torture of them is about to begin in full. An angel appears behind them and says he needs to speak with the Winchesters. Zachariah tries to pull rank, but the angels inform him that the orders came from the boss.
Yeah. And he's like, listen, sooner or later, the boss is going to come back. And you know how he is about wrath.
Dean and Sam are then transported to the garden with the angel, whom they correctly deduce to be Joshua.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Okay, this actor, it was something about his voice. I was like,
why do I know this?
I mean, he is an older actor even here. So I knew it wasn't the same guy. But because of his voice, I was like, is this Dr. Mabenga from Strange New Worlds? I was like, it can't be, right?
It's not. No.
It's absolutely not. But he has that really like I can't do it, but the very like raspy, like back of the throat kind of voice. I love the sound of his voice. It just feels, it's got presence and wisdom, and it conveys a lot of kind of like.
It sounds like the leader of South Africa. What's his name?
Mandela?
Yeah, Mandela.
A little bit. He doesn't have like the weird Winnie the Pooh voice thing going on.
The guy from Star Trek does.
Yeah, a little bit.
He has less of that.
But at any rate, this actor is great.
Love this guy.
I really love his voice. I think it suits the character so well. A character who's kind of like, not even necessarily like, I mean, he's not an archangel.
No.
He's just a guy who, as you know, for some reason, God talks to him and he just tends the garden.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about, again, we get the inner workings of heaven a bit. He says, like, this is like the center of heaven. Some people see it as a garden, as Eden. Some people see the throne of God.
Yeah.
And he goes, for you guys, it's the Cleveland Botanical Gardens. And you're like, cool, I guess. Is it actually?
No.
Because I was like, this is the like rainforest exhibit at like the Vancouver Aquarium, isn't it?
This was filmed at the Blodell Conservatory in Queen Elizabeth Park in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
This dome.
I wasn't quite there then, but
this domed greenhouse and aviary is a favorite filming location in Vancouver. A lot of
course,
people film
of course it is. It's got that geodesic thing up top. Like it probably looks like in our future society.
Yes.
Like I bet it's used for all sorts of Westworld
Forever.
shit. You know, like
They tell Joshua they were told he talks to God and they need to speak with him urgently. Joshua tells them that God is actually on Earth at the moment, but exactly where and doing what, Joshua doesn't know. We do.
He also says, like, you know, we don't like talk like that. I just get the message or whatever.
He talks to me more than I talk back. Yeah.
There's a really disheartening thing though, where they go like, we need. And he goes, listen, God knows everything about your plan. He knows exactly what you've talked about. He knows what you're going to say.
He's got a message for you.
He has a message for you. Back off. He just doesn't see this as his problem. He knows what the angels are doing.
By the end of this series, this is so perfectly in line with.
I know. He knows what the demons are doing. He knows the apocalypse is happening. He just
doesn't think it's his problem.
He's like, listen, he brought you guys back. He saved you. He put you on that plane. He brought Castiel back or whatever. That's more than he's intervened in a long time. And I think he's done.
This is also
intervening.
The first confirmation we actually have that
God is not dead.
Well, and that God put the brothers on the aircraft.
Yes, yeah.
Like we've made a lot of assumptions about this,
yes.
but like we now have confirmation that God brought Castiel back.
Yeah.
God put them on the plane. Like it was all God. He says that they can't kill Lucifer and to give up trying to find God.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, he wants nothing to do with it.
You can use your fucking magic amulet.
Yeah,
it's not going to
help you. You'll never find him.
The boys can't believe what they're hearing and says God could stop all of it. Joshua supposed he could, but he won't. And the answer is why not? And that's unknowable.
And Joshua has a good point where he's like, why would God make a world with evil in it anyway? You drive yourself nuts asking questions like that. The idea that even we all know that angels kind of follow blindly generally. But even the idea though is like, listen, we don't know either. And the only way we can do our jobs is to not ask that question, basically, because otherwise, you know, existence is pain. He's basically like, we all know it. You can't ask that question. It's kind of fucked up.
Yep. Joshua also exposes Dean's fear that he doesn't think he can like keep going.
Yeah.
Because he's losing faith in himself and in Sam, and God was his last hope.
Yeah.
Sam voices suspicion that Joshua could be misleading them, as they have been victims of angels with agendas before, but Joshua is offended in saying that he's rooting for Team Free Will and wishes he could do more for them, but he just
I think this actor really sells it, too, because, I mean, Sam is right, and also speaking for the audience, which is like, how can we trust any angel? You know, even Anna, you know, we ended up not being able to trust all these things. But this actor does a very good job, I think, of conveying the sincerity. He's like, I want to help you. I can't. I don't know what to tell you. Like, good luck. I'll send you guys back, but like, I don't know what to do. Sorry.
he makes a line that I'm trying to figure out like what the interpretation of what that means is, which is he says he just trims the hedges. And I do wonder like how does that actually like
Oh, right. Like what is the metaphor of
yeah.
that? I mean, I think it just means like I don't determine the course of things. I just
But like does he fix things? Like does he make it so that like things stay in line with where they're supposed to be? Like
I don't know if it's quite that literal or just more of a like I don't decide what gets planted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things are in motion. We just have to let them, you know, grow and bloom, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Joshua says that they have to go home, but this time won't be like the others because God wants them to remember it.
Which
time.
is even more fucked up.
It's really fucked up. It's so like holy shit. With that, he sends them back to Earth with a whitewash of light. They revive their murder scene, gasping for air. Their memories intact. Castiel has arrived at the motel room and is devastated by God's message.
Yeah.
He curses his father, but looks up as if he's still looking for a sign from him. Finally pulls...
He calls God a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He finally pulls Dean's necklace out of his pockets and tosses it to him, declaring the amulet worthless.
And he kind of just walks away, and Sam's like, wait, but Cass, and Cass does this.
Frustrated but resigned, Sam tells his brother the two of them will find another way to stop the apocalypse. Dean silently walks past him, drops the amulet in the trash can, and walks out the door.
Which is pretty fucked up. Even if it's useless to find God, that's like also he's like he feels pretty betrayed, I think, by Sam and stuff, even though it's not Sam's fault. But.
Crazy. Because it's also a representation of like him and Sam's relationship, and it's like the one last thing that he sort of coveted from their childhood.
Yeah.
That it's like, well, after everything that he's seen today too, he's like, Sam doesn't want anything to do with me. God doesn't want anything to do with me. Like this necklace, which was supposed to be a representation of how good both of those relationships are, is now gone.
Yeah.
He's like, he's got no relationships.
Yeah.
It's all over. That's the end of the episode.
Oof.
What did you think about this episode?
I really like this episode.
I love this episode.
Listen, and that you know, that doesn't mean that it nails everything. Like
Spotlight.
Well, the spotlight thing is a little clunky. I mean, again, you know, it's hard to make a TV show. I don't think that could be overstated. How hard
the fact
it is
that we get anything.
How hard it is to make a thing. But it is a little clunky.
Yeah.
That in heaven, like that's worse than their searching ability on Earth. Kaz had to give them the fucking Enochian shit to hide from them on Earth. And like in heaven, they're like just like a beam of like targeted. It's so insane.
Yeah.
Also, I just thought about it. You're talking about the time displacement thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, this episode, even in heaven, happens relatively quickly, but that still must be like days that their bodies have been in that motel. Like no one else has checked in. No one's checked on them.
Unless, then
like their bodies
back
don't
in time. I guess
it could be that too. Like easy to write off.
Yeah.
Again, doesn't break anything, but a fun thing to think about.
Yeah.
I like a lot of this episode. I like the sort of the heaven and angel lore we get. I like the stuff about Zachariah and his sort of like position and the place that he is at right now because of their defiance and shit.
I love thinking about it like in like an office perspective. It's very
which
funny.
is such a Zachariah thing too. I think like that's when we first meet him, right? Is in
this corporate setting.
That corporate setting for him to like keep coming back to employee of the month and that sort of.
Like,
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like you get the sense that like each angel kind of has like a thing.
Yeah.
And his, like I kind of get that. I really like Joshua. I think that actor's amazing.
Great.
And that sequence is really good. Some really like harrowing stuff about God.
Yeah.
And that the show is like, we've got angels and demons. The Bible is real. Like all this stuff that the show has done. And the show takes the only logical explanation, which is that God is either bad or does not care.
Yeah.
And the show's like, yep. You know what I mean? Like they don't try to make something of like, well, the rules are I can only do, like there's no bullshit like that. They just go for it. And I kind of I respect that, as a person who if it was definitively proven to me that God existed, that would be the only conclusion I could reach, is that he's either bad or doesn't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that. It's obviously an emotional like wreck. I think this is what a tough episode for Dean.
Yeah.
I know people are using it to needle at him or whatever, but truly, I mean, he's confronted with the idea that like everyone's version of heaven
Is away from him.
And part of that is structural about the way that heaven works, and part of that is also like Sam has multiple memories, good memories,
but getting away
that
from
are
it.
horrible times for Dean.
Yeah.
Like the one where Dean thought he was lost and whatever, John probably beat him, and the other time where Sam runs away to university or whatever. It's like multiple, Thanksgiving where he's like, we had Thanksgiving. He's like, that didn't count.
Yeah.
Like all these things that Dean is like, and especially because Dean's first memory is that fireworks thing with Sam, right?
He's like a beaten dog.
It's a real brutal Dean episode.
Yeah.
I like how it ends. It doesn't necessarily end in a brother fight, but like Dean's very defeated and shit like that. I think this is a very, very strong episode. The kind of weird things aside, I would give this 4.25 clunky searchlights.
Nice. Yeah, I do love this episode. It's a bit of like, it's almost like a series of bottles or like dioramas.
Yes. I mean, yeah. I just wanted to say. Also, we get Ash and Pamela.
I know,
and
like
bringing back Samantha Smith. She's great. Anytime we get to see Mary is awesome. But like seeing Ash and Pamela is really fucking. It's fun and nice and a little bit of closure on two very abrupt, largely like there are deaths that happened where Sam and Dean couldn't do anything.
We also didn't even see
because the last time Sam and Dean were like under, right? Because she was like, like both of those deaths were like Sam and Dean weren't even really technically like in the room to stop them.
But also Ash, like we didn't even see it.
Exactly. So like, a little closure on those feels nice.
Absolutely. I think you get a lot of like insight. One, I mean, of course, to Dean, he's like a fucking like a beaten dog. Like there's a song I really like called Housebroken, and there's like this like emo sort of like pop punk band that I like.
Okay.
And it's all about like this dog who's like treated really poorly, and someone goes to like try to like help them escape, and they're like, well, no, this is my home though. Like, and it's fucking heartbreaking, but the whole point of it is just like that. Yeah, this is his life. Like he's resigned to live this life and think that this is what he wants.
Right.
So I think that's heartbreaking, but I think there's also this like component of Sam that you never really think about, that it's a good reminder that he never had a good life. Like Sam's good life, he always was looking towards trying to figure out what a good life could be. Dean's his whole thing was about like trying to keep things together because in this idea of a previous good life that he had walked away from.
Yeah, Dean can kind of convince himself that he's holding on to the pieces that are left,
and maybe he could get back.
But Sam is like, there are no pieces.
He has nothing to compare it to except for everything else around him, which is like these families and things like that. And he's like, oh, I've never been shown what a good life is. I've just been constantly fed shit, and it's like, oh, if I can just get away from this, then I'll be happy. And I think it's an important thing because he's never had a good life.
Yeah.
So I really like that because I think it's a good way to sort of like go like, yeah, Dean's had it bad, but like Sam also has never had it good. Like,
yeah.
And
totally.
So it gives you a little bit more sort of like respect for what Sam did and why he did it.
Yeah, which is also why Sam has like I mean, I know Dean had gone back in time first, but when they go back in time a couple of weeks ago, and Sam is like almost crying at the front door, he's like never even met his mom.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, he was 6 months old. Like
he's no memory of her.
So yeah, all of this is it's different. Dean has like a slight Batman thing, where he remembers it and it's trauma. Sam has like the Superman thing, which is just like this whole other thing that could have been his just doesn't exist.
So he's not looking to try to get that back.
It's sad or whatever, but he also doesn't know it.
So he's just trying to keep this new life or this new idea of life that he's sort of been shown.
You know, there's some interesting. Leave it to me to bring it back to comics, but Yeah, there's something interesting in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect sort of thing, which is weird because it's also like it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think that there's also this moment where we learn a bit more about why Dean. I mean, a thing that did not need to exist, but you get a deeper relationship why Dean loves pie.
Yeah, just that. Yeah, his mom made pie.
Yeah, like it's just like that. That's where that connection comes from.
Yeah, I do like that we're retconning pie back into his back. It's not just like a thing he started like. It's like no, pie is the most this memory he has when it was just him and mom.
It's
like,
pie.
It's pie.
Yeah, Han Solo.
I've brought it up before. Isn't it crazy that in Fast and Furious, Han's full name is Han Solo, but it's spelled Seoul like Korea?
Yeah, love that.
Han Solo.
Great. What do you want me to do with that?
I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Top 10 Han Solo references. Hell yeah.
But yeah,
are you saying you still haven't found what you're looking for?
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! What else can you bring back from the beginning of this episode?
Well, here, fun fact: we're on the road a lot, but in this episode, we never see a sign, so the streets have no name.
Heaven, where the streets have no name. I really, really love this episode. It's one that I always remember. Yeah, I think the guy who plays Joshua is really great.
Yeah.
Ash is
awesome.
like so fun in this episode.
So nice to see him too.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious connection.
Jesus Christ. Yes.
It's Jesse.
Okay. I think that it's
Johnny Tran kills him.
Yeah. All right. Pamela, goodness gracious.
I mean, just
yeah. I think I am I'm gonna give this 4.5 pie retcons.
Oh yeah, baby. Pirate Con?
Whoa!
Yar at 3 p.m. in Hall B.
Obviously it's Hall C.
Well, no, there's Hall C, Hall R.
Yeah.
But there's also Hall B, as in I be there doing a talk. And Hall X marks the spot.
Nice.
Pirate Con. Remember, only purple lanyards get into the VIP. There's a scallywag meet and greet at 4.
Nice. Anything else?
Maybe. We'll see. Also, I like that at Pirate Con, I'm running it.
Well, obviously. Blackbeard wants to know in the green room, why is the rum gone?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Also, Polly wants a cracker. Nice.
We've got deck swabbing 101 workshop for all you landlubbers.
Yeah, it's a DIY thing, which is
There
deck
must-
is yours.
There must be a Pirate Con.
There must be.
There can't not be a pirate convention.
That's true. Otherwise, what are we even doing here?
And it's either people who love to dress up
Yeah.
and talk like pirates, or there's some sort of black market convention of real life piracy.
oh, like legal downloading.
No, I was thinking more like Somali pirate.
Oh.
But yes, yeah. Like high seas piracy. I was still thinking of that. Like physical piracy.
That's all the drinks that they serve at PyroCon.
High C? Jesus. Son of a bitch.
All right. Those
Do you have anything non-alcoholic? We've got high C.
Yeah. Fuck, that's so good.
You son of a bitch. You motherfucker.
All right. Before we go, we've got a note from a fellow hunter.
Fucking high C. You son of a bitch. Oh, Okay. What's the note?
The note comes from Cece,
All right.
who says, "Hey guys,
Speaking of,
hey,
yeah, there's
Hi, Cece.
You just need 5 more.
oh, 5 CCs,
Well, then you'd have 7.
oh, hey,
You're CC.
yeah,
You need 5 more.
yeah. I always just try to be CC. You don't want people to know who you're CCing."
I be CCing to you on all my emails.
Listening to the latest episode for season 5, episode 15, I have to address Reed's public places exit strategy paranoia.
Thank you. I hope this is in support of me. I just assume it is.
My dad and brothers are the exact same way.
Great.
They intentionally sit with their back to the wall as much as possible when we're out as a family. I've even overheard my 22-year-old brother and dad quietly conversing about the strategy should some weapon-wielding lunatic want to throw down at our local Mexican restaurant in Wisconsin. LOL, but not really.
I don't think I do that, but I do keep
You also don't live in the United States. So.
I do. Well, yeah. I mean, I would be a lot more paranoid if I lived in the States. I do keep an eye on exits, though.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't necessarily need to be back to wall, but I do need to keep an eye on exits.
Sure.
I do clock that.
Just wanted to reassure you, Reed. I think it's a normal thing, and particularly because you're a dad. That's the one thing I would think that would heighten your general awareness in places like that. General violence of this world aside. Keep doing you, brochachos. Love you guys. Your RSJ, Richard Spade Jr., girl from Wisconsin.
Thank you.
CC.
Thank you for writing in. Thank you for writing in order to make me feel better about it. I actually think I feel worse. I think I feel crazier.
I love you heard that. You're like, well, hold on. I'm not that
It's like,
bad.
wait a minute. No, that sounds like a lot. Because I was like, I was like, I don't put my back to the wall. I just watch the exits all the time and make sure I know who's coming and going. And then I was like, oh shit, that's not fine. I think it made me feel crazier.
Yeah, I think her family like just passively puts themselves in a position just in case. You are always on a high alert.
Yeah. Huh. And yet, also completely oblivious to danger. Like, I think that way. I just always like, I could get out here. I could pick this up and throw this. I could do, like, I think that way, but also you've been with me. I have no danger sense.
Mm-hmm.
I've just walked through a crime scene with you in Vancouver.
And
you were like, should we cross the street? And I was like, why? And you were like, because there's a crime in progress. What a weird combination of things. How can I both be paranoid and also fully lean into the privilege of being a 6'2" white man, like cis het with like a 2nd degree black belt?
And also like 270.
I'm also like 270. I was trying to leave the weight out of it. Thank you, but whatever. That's fine.
Also at 4:00, we're yar bombing the pavilion at 4.
Remember, a yar bomb? It's the little round kind with a little fucking wick on it. Can we start Pirate Con?
If it doesn't exist, it must.
Yeah, we need to. We need to start Pirate Con.
So good. All right, that's the end of this episode. If you want to continue this conversation about checking your exits or about this episode, also we've been having a lot of like deep like emotional breakthroughs on our Discord.
I gotta say, yeah. So on our Discord, Angel Radio, which you can sign up for by going to patreon.com/ghostfacers. It's only
That's
$1 a month. What a lovely community of people who are emotionally supportive. People are like going through stuff, and sometimes it's big stuff and sometimes it's little stuff. But I love like what an open, welcoming, supportive community that we built. It's nice.
Yeah. I literally came in accidentally the other day and everyone was just like revealing traumas and then supporting each other. And I'm like, I should not be here.
I think it's beautiful.
I
love it.
100% beautiful.
Plus, we talk about Supernatural and sandwiches and the important stuff.
So make sure you subscribe.
I want to
Angel
hear all
Radio.
about people making one of these disgusting heaven sandwich recipes.
Gross.
Hey, top it off with the other slice of bread.
If you want to, make a fucking sandwich.
Insane. Well, yeah, you have the
An open face is not a sandwich.
open face is not a sandwich.
Yeah.
Is your
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, it's a crostini. Anyways.
I mean, unless it's not crusty.
I think crostinis don't actually need to be that crusty. But.
So if it's just like a untoasted piece of white bread with stuff on it, you'd
Yeah.
call that a crostini,
Yeah.
even though nothing about that is crust at all.
Leave it out long enough, it'll get crusty.
Oh, you're gonna use bedroom talk, I see.
Ladies. Just leave it out for a while. It'll get hard.
Oh no.
Just put some shit on it and don't look at it. It'll get hard.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Why would you do this?
So go to patreon.com/
Ghostfacers.
That's right, baby. For $1, you can get access to Angel Radio.
That's right.
Also, if you want to send us a note, like many of the other fellow hunters, like Dr. Christine
That's right.
or Cece, all you have to do is send us an email at ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
Or you can just chat with us through our various social media platforms.
Yeah, we're at Ghostfacers Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
That's
Fun fact:
we've
been nominated for a Canadian Podcast Award.
That's right, baby.
Second year in a row. For a different, we were nominated in a different category this year. Or this year we are
one that's
up,
actually appropriate.
We are up for Outstanding Television and Film Series.
Yes.
It's a industry award, so it's not just like open voting. But if you happen to be a Canadian podcaster, if you are a Canadian with a podcast, you are eligible to vote at canpodawards.ca. I think voting is open until August 11th.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you could also vote for our other podcast, Dr. DC, which is up for Outstanding Comedy Series.
Yeah. So if you want to make a fake podcast, subscribe to this.
I actually think there's a relatively thorough
Rigorous
vetting process, so it can't be fake. But if you are a Canadian podcaster, you're eligible,
Yeah.
and you can vote.
If you want to make a very eligible one in the next day or two,
Not what I said.
it'd be great.
Yeah. Secure our legacy.
That's right. Or else.
Yeah, we're up against
Taggart and Torrance
Canadian comedy legend Jonathan Torrance somehow. So.
and the drummer.
Wait, are we up against that for this one, or is that for?
Oh,
That might
no,
be
that's
for
Dr.
Dr.
DC. Yeah.
We could win this one.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is nominated.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you can get an episode in your feed every single week. And while you're on that platform, why don't you give us a 5-star review? Look, if you want to give us a passive-aggressive 1-star review about how woke we are, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah,
But I'd rather a 5-star
I'd rather
review.
the 5-star reviews, but don't get it wrong. If you give us a bad review and the reason you don't like us is that we're good people, that's still a good review.
Yes. You're just making my day.
Yeah.
But if you want to give us a 5-star review and also say that we're shit, that's okay too. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, also, if you just wanted to tell me that I'm kind of shitty or whatever, you tell me I'm a piece of shit. I'm into that too.
Yeah, if you want to say I'm a bad boy.
Yeah. Maybe
cut off the crust off my sandwich.
yeah, or maybe you won't because I've been too bad.
Yeah,
I
take a
just have
photo
to
of you.
eat the fucking crust.
Yeah, and you wearing that dress.
I don't know. We're crossing a weird line here that I'm not comfortable with.
I am.
Uh-oh.
We will read those reviews on a future episode of the podcast. Also, we've got merch at ghostfacerspodcaststore.com.
That's right.
And we've mentioned it a few times on here, but we have another podcast.
The Dr. DC podcast. I almost forgot the name of it. The Dr. DC podcast. We talk about DC Comics. We answer listener questions. If you like the way that we talk about lore and stuff over here, you might enjoy how we talk about superheroes and comic books and that sort of stuff over there. And again, that podcast also nominated Canadian Podcast Awards.
A lot of crossover as we've seen today. Batman, Superman, Dean Winchester, and Sam.
Baby.
It's a very similar stuff going on. I think you'll be able to get on board.
Easy.
And that's it for this week. Say goodbye, bitch. Jerk. Yarr.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.